Hey, welcome back to our idle game tutorial series. Today we are doing the first upgrade, which will be a building block that will allow us to create more upgrades later on. This will be a much longer video than everything we've made so far, so we will rush into it by creating a new view right away. So we go into the user interface script, get the views enum, and add a new value, which will be prototype upgrades. Okay. The new view is now declared. Let's create a link to navigate to this view. This will be prototype upgrades link. Let's create a connection to the user interface script and do some copy pasting. So let's copy the documentation as well as the navigation. All right. So we want to trigger when the prototype upgrades. Link is pressed. Navigation requested to prototype upgrades. All right. So we have the link set up. Let's create a new scene and name it prototype upgrades, like this. Let's save it. Prototypes, upgrades, save. Cool. And instantiate it into user interface right away. Oh yes. What am I doing? Upgrades, prototype upgrades. Yes. There we go. Let's hide it just in case. And keep the generator short. So where is this? We have no script yet. So let's create a script for prototype upgrades and get into maybe clicker upgrades, prototype clicker, sorry, to get what we need for the navigation. So we have, where is it? It's here. So we have a few variables that we will grab. We have the ready function. Yep. Function there. And we have the navigation request as well. There we go. So we reference the user interface, the view reference, we initialize the label, we initialize visibility, launch, watch for navigation request and react accordingly. All right, it seems all right. So here in the user interface scene, we can now set up both the user interface link and the view value to prototype upgrades. So we should be able to navigate to our prototype upgrades now. It is initialized to visible false, which is exactly what we want. Perfect. Let's give it a name, class name, prototype upgrades, and a short description, prototype non-view display upgrades. Right. Let's add few things to our node. So we're gonna add maybe a margin to avoid being sticked to the edges. 16 pixels margin That would be cool. And we will organize the objects vertically with a distance of 8 pixels, 16. Let's go with 16. All right. So we have the prototype, the margin. Let's have the margin full rect. And the VBox container is also full rect. Cool. So let's add maybe a title. So that would be a label. And that will be a header log. So we're gonna add a little title upgrades like this with a theme variation header large like this. Then maybe a separator in a margin container as usual. Let's give this left and right 16 pixels to add a separator, horizontal one. Great. So we have the upgrade. Let's just check that the navigation works properly, right? So we can start generating stardust. And oh, we didn't give any words to the link prototype upgrade here. So prototype upgrades. Yes, now it's gonna be better. So we can click there and reach the upgrades view. Right, that's exactly what we wish for. So let's go back to our prototype. We had the H separator, and now we need to add an actual upgrade, right? Let's add a control node, which will represent the upgrade. So we can name it upgrade 01, maybe. Let's give it some minimum height of 140. Yes. We could use a little bit more margins though. Yes, could we use more margin? So theme overrides. I'm gonna go with 64 on both left and right and drop the upgrades there. Right. So we have the upgrade 01. We will use few. Maybe I will get it a little bit bigger. 168. Okay. So let's add some margins to the container. Let's go with 16 on each edges. All right. Something else we can do is add a panel to the upgrade, so it's a little bit more visual, right? So we add a panel at the root of the node like this, right? So we have the margin, and there what I want is to have on the right a purchase button, and on the left the description of the upgrade, what it's doing, etc., etc. So we will add an H box organizer like this with the button and a description area. So I want the description area to be on the left, and I will rename this infos, and the button will be purchase button. Let's just change the spacing to 16 or at least 32, right? Have the button, let's write purchase on it and give it some minimum height, maybe 40. Right, 240 is probably good. And infos will be stretched. It will expand on the container sizing like this. So we have the purchase button on the right and a rectangle here to put information related to the upgrade. So in here, let's create a vertical alignment, a VBox container with maybe a header. So that will be a label with a theme variation header medium, and that will be title, name, title. Let's go with title. That will be upgrade title. And then under it, we will have a rich text label, which we will expand to take the available space. That will be the description. So let's have some placeholder text, upgrade description, cost, effect, cost, something like this. As for the rich text label, we have more options. We can enable the BB code, which is always interesting, and as well we can fit content, which means that if the text is going too big for the box will expand, right? And we do want this. There's just one thing right now. The button is set to fit the height. But maybe we don't want this, because if the text is too big and the upgrade box stretches, we actually maybe don't want the button to stretch. Well, we'll leave it like this and we will see later how this scales. So there it is. Here we have a little prototype of what an upgrade could look like, which is contained within this object, this scene upgrade 01. Okay. So now we still have a few things to do. Creating the upgrade within the scripts and creating a script for the node here, for the scene, to be able to display everything we need in this little rectangle here. So maybe we can start by defining what an upgrade will be, which will make scripting the scene easier later on. So let's create a new script, a new folder actually, which I will name upgrades. Right? And create a script which will name up01 clicker upgrade. All right. Ideally, we want to create an upgrade class, which would be the base layout for each upgrade, and have all the upgrades of the game inherits from this class. This we will do later, right? Because we don't know yet exactly what an upgrade will look like. So we'll go with the prototyping way of creating a code by creating the prototype of an upgrade and then looking out for what could be common to all the upgrades in the game. All right. So let's create this one, which will be up 01 clicker upgrade. All right, let's give it a description. Description like upgrade 01 increases stardust created by clicker. Increases stardust created by the clicker. All right, so that's what the upgrade will do. So upgrades have these elements. Obviously, we will have a level. Right? Let's initialize it to 0 for now. So we can either have an upgrade which scales infinitely, or we can have an upgrade with a set amount of levels. It will be a little bit different in logic, but maybe we will start with an infinite upgrade and later on make an upgrade with some limited amount of levels. All right, so let's at the moment have this one with this level, and then we will need a title. We will need a description. And we will need a cost. Well, we will need a base cost, which will be an int. Let's set the base cost to 5. Title to clicker upgrade. And as for the description, it's going to be a little bit longer. So how can I will initialize it in the init function, right? So this won't extend node, actually. We can remove this. Since it is a class which will be instanced somewhere, it will go through the constructor node, right? Every class, when they are instanced, they go through the constructor, which by default is empty, but we can populate it by creating the init function, just like we create the ready function or the process function. So in there, we will go with description equal, right? We have to define the description which will fit here. So let's see. Where is my script? Here is my script. Increases the amount of stardust created by the clicker. Right? It's simple and effective. Now we will add a new line by using the backward slash and n, right? Let's add Ep.6 and let's go with +1 stardust per level, right? And then description plus equal new line cost, and there we will create a function that will give us the actual cost of the upgrade, right? Because here we have the base cost, but we want to know the cost based on the level. So let's create this function right away. So this function costs will return an integer, and at the moment we will return base cost. Okay, all right. So this, let's document a little bit. So this is the level of the upgrade. Right. Here is the title or name of the upgrade. Description containing effects and costs. And here we have the base cost of the upgrade. Right now, I'm thinking that this won't work very well because we actually need to update the description, right? Every time we level up, this will change. So we can't have this initialized in there and expect it to be working. So instead, we will create a function description, which will return a string, and we will return this. So let's copy this in there, create a new variable description, which will be a string. We will remove this description here, and we will return description and remove the init function. Well, yes, we can. Let's document this. Returns description containing effects and cost. And there we have the returns the current cost based on level and base cost. So maybe this function will return base cost multiplied by, let's go with 1.5 with the pow exponents level, right? So for each level, we will multiply the cost by 1.5, right? To have the cost increasing. All right. So we have the description, the cost, the title, and the level. Let's look at this object to see what we could need. Well, we need a purchase function, obviously, and a level up function, which will be tied to the purchase function. Right. Let's create those functions right away. So we want to see, right, we have a button, and let's say that we want to know or update the button to make it available or not available based on the amount of stardust we have. Say it differently, if we have enough stardust to buy the upgrade, I want the button to be available. And if we don't have enough stardust to buy the upgrade, I want the button to be, grayed, right? So we will create a function can afford to see and check if we can afford or not buying the upgrade. This will return a boolean, a true or false, right? So let's see, if game.ref.data.stardust, actually let's use the handler stardust.ref.stardust. So if our stardust amount is superior or equal to cost, right, we want to return true. Otherwise, we want to return false. Okay. So now we can know whether or not we can afford buying this by using this method. Returns the boolean returns whether or not the player can afford buying the upgrade. We have warnings. What are they? Variable, yes. Yeah, well, description is shadowing an already declared function. Yep. You know what? Let's give it an underscore. There we go. And here we have a conversion from float to int. It is actually very well intended, so I'm gonna click on it. Can I ignore it? Oh no. Well, you know what? I'm gonna return int of all this, and now you're not gonna bother me anymore. Because it is actually intended to transform this into an integer, right? Okay, so we know if we can afford it and stuff. I just want to bring your attention to the level for a second, because the level here is something we want to keep track of, right? When the saving and loading will be implemented, we want to be keeping track of how much times we have purchased the upgrade, right? So this means we need a variable in the data object where we will store the upgrade level. So we will have up 01 level as an integer initialized at 0. Upgrade 01 upgrade level. There we go. Now we have the level here. What we can do is actually load the level from data using the init function and have level being equal to game.ref.data.up01 level. So now we're gonna initialize the level based on the data, right? Load data. So it is important when we level up to actually mirror any local change in there into data. Maybe we can create the level up function now. So let's have level up. So in order to level up, we need to consume an amount of stardust equal to the cost of the upgrade. And it is fortunate because we already created this function in the resource handler. And this function also returns an error if it fails to consume stardust, right? So we're gonna call this function, which is handler stardust.ref.consume stardust with the quantity cost, all right? And this returns an error. So we will store the error in there, in this variable here, in order to check what's happening. So if not error, then we can continue, right? So let's see, if we don't have any error and that we have consumed the stardust to upgrade, to level up the upgrade, we want to increase the level by 1. We want to mirror this level increase in data. So we want up or 1 level from data to be equal to level here. Actually, I'm thinking maybe we will emit a signal when we level up. So we will create a new signal. So if we want to create a signal, we actually have to extend node, right? So I thought we don't need it, but actually we do. So let's create a signal leveled up, leveled up. Yes, sounds a little bit better. So that's emitted when the upgrade has leveled up. And here we will emit the signal leveled up dot emit. Right. Great. Let's document the function. Consumes stardust to level up. All right. So let's see. We can level it up. See if we can afford it. We have the cost, the description, the title. It seems like we have everything we need. So we have a script version of our upgrade, but now we need a script for the upgrade scene. Okay. Maybe we can, maybe we can make this upgrade generic in here. Go into our upgrade prototype folder and create a new folder in there, which will be components. In this components folder, I will save the upgrade scene here. I mean, yeah, as a scene, right? So in prototypes, upgrades, components, and have upgrade.tscn, like this. Yeah, you want a base wide. So take the entire screen, like this. And let's give you a little script, which I will name compo, well, let's actually, wait a second. I will name this file compo upgrades instead of just upgrade, compo upgrade.tscn, right? I will rename this compo upgrade as well and give it a script, right? So now I can give it a class name, compo upgrade. This is going to be a component displaying an upgrade. So the difference between, well, a prototype or a view later on and a component is that the view is meant to take the full screen space, sort of, Our component is the right word. A component that will be usable and that we can instantiate as many times as we wish, as long as we give it different data to display something different. Okay? So here, our components will need to know what upgrade to show, right? So we will need a variable upgrade. So we seem to have errors in there. What is an error? The returning error. Since prototypes upgrade components. Yes, actually there's nothing. What's your problem? Oh, okay. Here, the problem is here. So we're gonna delete this upgrade and bring in the compo upgrade. So this comes from the renaming of the node, but it's okay. Let's save this. Right. It was renaming the node, which we did all this. So anyway, we need an upgrade data. At the moment, we don't have a generic upgrade type, so we will just use the upgrade01 ticker upgrade type, and that will be upgrade display. And from there, let's have, well, we can reference every object we want to change. So there's the title, the description, and the button. So we will need the references to these objects. I believe the exports are on top. So export variable label title, which is a simple label. Nope, just a label. Then we will export variable label description, which is a rich text label. And we have the variable button, which is a simple button. And it's bold. Right. So this is the reference to the title label, a reference to the rich text label description, and a reference to the button purchase button. All right. Now that we have all the references here, we can make methods to update those variables, right? So we'll have update label title, which is a void method, and which will just get, maybe we can display the level in the title of the upgrade. Maybe we can have a variable text string, which is going to be equal to upgrade dot title, and we will add after it a space and eventually parenthesis and the level like this, and have the upgrade dot level. So we will show the level of the upgrade Okay, that can work. So update the title of the upgrade, right? Then we have the description. Update label description. Yeah, just give me time to complete. Void. And this one, oh yes, I completely forgot to assign the text to the label here. So label title dot text is of course equal to text. There we go. And here we will have the same. So label description dot text will be equal to upgrade dot description, right? This updates the description of the upgrade. Maybe we can now make the function to update the button. So this will be update button, which will be void. So here we want to make a check. If we can afford, we will make the button available, and if we can't afford, we will make the button disabled. The property here is the button disabled, true or false? So it's kind of reversed, right? So if we can afford, if upgrade dot can afford disabled equal false, and we will return otherwise disabled, and it's actually button dot disabled, not just disabled, right? Because the script here is not the button but the component upgrade. So if we can afford, the button isn't disabled, and if we can't afford, the button is disabled. Updates the button availability, right? Okay. So we have the upgrade for text, title, and the button. So we will need to calculate, to update those things sometimes, okay? So let's start with the button here. The button, every time we gain stardust, we want to know if we have enough. Every time we lose stardust, we want to know that we didn't go lower than the price. This will come in the form of connecting to the create and consume stardust signals. So we'll have handler stardust dot ref dot stardust created dot connect to update button. There is a catch though here. Stardust created contains an argument, right? So because of that, we need to have update button here to accept an argument. Otherwise it won't work. So we need to create a fake argument, sort of, to make sure that when the signal stardust created is emitted, we have this accepting the argument, right? And we will do the same for the stardust consumed signal. We will update the button. All right. We want to initialize all this at the start as well. Now let's think about it. I'm in the ready function, so let's do it. We want to update the title, we want to update the description, and then we want to update the button on start. Okay. Also on start, we want to create a new instance of upgrade as class. So we want to create a new up01 clicker upgrade dot new. I want to initialize this new upgrade in the ready function because I want to make sure that data is loaded. In the script of the upgrade here, when we create an upgrade, we go through the constructor, which says I'm going to scavenge for the level in the game data. So if data doesn't exist, problem. This is why I'm going to initialize this when the component is ready, or when the component is getting ready, and not when it is read for the first time. So let's see where we are now. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break to get some water because it's getting just worse raspy. And I am completely lost now. I think I was talking about upgrade instantiated in ready. Anyway, is there anything else we need to do? So we instantiate the upgrade, display everything there. Yes, we haven't connected the level up upgrade signal. So maybe we can do this right away. We need to change. Okay, so what is updating? The title for sure, the description for sure. Maybe the button as well. Because, well, if it levels up, the cost will change. So maybe we should check the button as well. All right. So upgrade dot leveled up dot connect, and I want to update the label type. Whoa, the label title. Jeez, that's darky. We want to update upgrade leveled up. We want to update the description. Are you right? Yes. And we want to update the button, just to be sure. I'm just realizing something. Every time we create our consume stardust, we're checking for the button here. If we can afford the upgrade. Which means that every time we create stardust, we calculate the cost here. So maybe instead of returning the cost through a function, maybe I will actually create a cost variable which is not initialized, right? And document it current cost of the upgrade, right? And here we will have calculate cost. Every time I use cost, I will actually use the variable instead of the function. Right? We have changed the 3 values. But now we need to calculate the cost when it is required. So obviously when it is constructed, but also when it levels up. So we want to level up here in game ref data, and before emitting the signal saying we leveled up, we will calculate the new cost, right? This should drastically decrease the amount of times we calculate the cost of the upgrade, right? I actually haven't connected this button here, right? So let's go into node, pressed signal, and connect it to compo upgrade. And on purchase, when we click on it, well, we want to trigger upgrade.levelUp method. Then everything is going to be fine. I'm going to document this and we're going to check if it will be fine. So this is triggered. We get 1J, 1G, 2R. Definitely not. Triggered when purchase button is pressed. Okay, so we go on upgrade and we level up. So let's see. Here, we level up. We check that we can buy, which is fine. So even though if we can access the button for any reason and can't buy, we will have an error. Cool. Maybe we can test this already. All right. What's your problem? There's a problem here with the value being null. Text is equal to upgrade title plus upgrade level. What is null? Label title. Oh, yes. I haven't linked the nodes in there. That's a very common mistake I make. All right, let's test again. So if we go there, oh, we can purchase. That's bad. That's very bad. Because cost is equal to 0. So calculate cost instead should be a void method and have costs be equal to this. All right. Now it costs 5 stardust, right? Okay. So I can go in the clicker, generate a few stardust, and I should be able to buy one, level it up, and have the cost increase. Except that it doesn't increase the clicker here, right? but it doesn't matter because all I wanted to have is this upgrade working here. Now, the clicker working is going to be an easy part. We made the most difficult thing, okay? So we can create a new handler for the clicker, but since it is an already long video, what we will do is go in the stardust handler or in the prototype clicker. Let's do it in the stardust handler right there. I'm going to create a new method which is going to be trigger clicker. Or I want to create a method that basically creates stardust through the clicker, right? It's absolutely not clear what I mean. But yes, trigger clicker, that will do until we have a clicker handler. So when we trigger the clicker, we will create a new quantity of stardust we want to generate. By default, the quantity of stardust we generate is 1. But also, for each level of the upgrade, clicker upgrade, I want to add 1 stardust to whatever the clicker is generating. So I'm just gonna add graph.data dot upgrade in 1 level. I will just add the level, right? Because it's multiplied by 1, so I don't need to type it. And on the end, I can use the function create stardust with the quantity. So I can create stardust with quantity, and that's it. Create stardust triggered by the clicker creates stardust. All right. Now that we have changed the way we create stardust, we need to change the way we create stardust in the clicker as well. So here, create stardust will instead go with the method trigger clicker. All right? Let's test this. I'm gonna start generating. Oh no, I won't start generating because it will be annoying to see what's happening. So I'm gonna go here, generate a few stardust, upgrade twice, and I can't upgrade more. Perfect. And now I should create more stardust, right? Great. 4, 7, 10. And there it is. This is how we create an upgrade. We need to have an upgrade object somewhere with the level, which is stored in data. And then, whenever we create stardust, we want to check how much stardust we should create based on the level. Right? So that's it. Right? Can buy infinitely as long as we do have stardust. So it goes quite fast actually at the beginning because we create way much more stardust than we actually increase the cost, but it's a balance thing. Anyway, this will come in later episodes, so thank you for watching this episode. on this upgrade. If you feel like you want to try creating more upgrades, do so. You can try creating an upgrade for the generator. Maybe I will make an episode on it. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah,